Truck Talk Media.
All right. What up, C10 Nation? You know, I've been loving this, truck show format where we get to talk to people about some of the different truck shows that we're doing out there. And we're just so blessed because not only do we have amazing people in our scene, we have amazing people putting on amazing events and amazing truck shows. And really a lot of people that have been putting these things on are just giving back to the community that raised them, the community that, you know, they're raising their families in. And then it's cool. There's a level of pride when you have a truck show, you bring people in, they see it's kind of like showing off, right? This is my town. This is where I live. This is my street. This is my backyard, if you will. So with all that pre-hype, I've got Bryan Harrison, the one and only from Harrison Rod Shops, and the GM Truck Fair. And we can't wait. What we got about 3 weeks away, right?
Right at 3, and it's getting here quickly, and it's down to the point where the phone calls are ramping up and all the crossing the T's and dotting the I's is ramping up. I've been on the phone all day, it feels like.
Auto Metal Direct, the leader in premium OE-style restoration parts for classic Chevy and GMC trucks. If you're building a C10, a K10, maybe a square body, AMD manufactures high-quality sheet metal, trim, glass, and restoration components designed for OE-style fit and factory-correct body lines. These aren't generic panels. AMD develops its own tooling using modern manufacturing processes to deliver consistent stampings and proper gauge steel, built for builders who care about doing it right. Damn, son. Whether you're restoring a 67 to 72, bringing a square body back from the brink, or finishing off a clean driver, AMD supports the trucks and the community we talk about here on the pod. Check them out at autometaldirect.com and follow them on social media to see product features, installs, and behind-the-scenes manufacturing content. Auto Metal Direct, investing in the trucks and the people that make this community so damn awesome.
Let me tell you what Melba's Toast is packing right here, all right? We've got 411 Posi track out back, 750 double pumper, Edelbrock intakes, scored over 30, 11-1 pop-up pistons, turbojet, 390 horsepower. We're talking some bucking muscle.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind? That just happened.
Welcome to C10 Talk, your C10 truck podcast.
And now I have a chance to be the best, maybe the best in the world.
My old man, he's a television repairman. Ultimate set of tools. I can fix it.
I said I got 50 cents in that jukebox, and all I can hear is your mouth clapping. You hear that?
Here's your host, Ronnie Welch.
It's down to the point where the phone calls are ramping up and all the crossing the T's and dotting the I's is ramping up. I've been on the phone all day, it feels like.
Yeah, I bet. I've been there, you know, where you've got your different, your titles, you got your vendors, you've got the truck people, who's in, who's out, the different prizes and everything else you got going on. People don't realize how much it takes to put one of these on. Everything that we've talked about, Greenville's really behind you on this and really embracing you on this. Is that continue to be the way that it is and the level of support that you're getting?
100% so. And, you know, we just went through a downtown project since the first year of Truck Fair. We're going in the 4th year. So the first year, our Depot Street party was kind of in the middle of some construction. Now that's all wound up. It's all new downtown. It's a cool town. Like you said, our host hotel is an 1880s hotel that's been renovated. It's on the National Registry of Historic Places. It's just a great place to go. Everything is close to that hotel. The show's like a 5-minute drive, 10-minute drive out to where it's at. But then Friday night events at the hotel, the Saturday night events right outside the hotel. And it's just too good a place not to utilize. And, you know, I've told somebody this week, I was talking to the city mayor, and I said, you know, I've got a lot going on. I was hurt at the fire department. I'm behind getting things back, you know, caught up at the shop. I really didn't need this kind of stuff to do. But at the same time, it's like, I want to showcase our town. I want it to be good for other small business in this town. Every one of these trucks that come here, we appreciate it because they eat here, they fuel here, they buy a hotel here, the wives shop here, and they might see the thing and come back and say, hey, I'm not coming to a truck show. I'm just going to come here and hang out. But the big thing about the show is every dollar of our show we send it right back to the 501c. So now we have our own 501c3 called the Harrison's Riding Custom Scholarship Fund. And it exists to help youth. If you want to get into something hot rod, restoration, fab, auto body, if it's got something that pertains back to where it could potentially work in the hot rod industry, we're going to give them money and help them get into school. And we wanted to let that build up 3 or 4 years. I had sort of a number I wanted to see in the account and then start paying that out and trying to do that. So I was recently put on the automotive advisory board to the auto program at one of the high schools right off the road from the house. And we're just excited to be trying to help these people. I come through tech school. I had 400 and some hours of one class, 780 some hours of machine shop in another class. I understand. And a lot of these kids are good kids. They got a good plan. They got a good heart. They just get told no. And sometimes they don't have the support they need. And that's kind of on us sometimes. You know, we could do more to help them and backfill this industry because none of us are finding the help we need.
Yeah, the skilled labor and that, what a great point. You know, you're addressing the issue because, you know, maybe 20, 30 years ago, there was more bodies than there was work, but there's more work than ever now. And, you know, the skill level, and we take it for granted. You know, how many people learned OJT, on the job training, where, hey, you're going to go start sweeping floors. You're going to work at your dad's shop. You're going to go work at your uncle's shop or your papa's shop. And that's just not the way it is anymore. So these kids they're out there. There's a hunger. I think the biggest thing is I don't think kids lack vision or artistry because they grew up with a tablet and they can see the end. I think they lack the ability to understand of how much more it takes to get to that end. And you got to keep dangling that juicy carrot, and they got to see, hey, it's there. It's going to happen. You're going to be a big part of this. And it's cool that you're facilitating that and giving and back in more than one way, because not only will they apply and get some monetary help, but they can go to the truck show and they can see what is a lot of amazing artistry, and that they can be part of that and play a pivotal role in that when you have that end game.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And, you know, I think a lot of times too, these kids lack good, solid mentors. They don't get to know some of the teachers and stuff like we did, you know, coming through school and classes and stuff. And then people in the industry, some of them I know really push hard and try to do things for youth and try to do the things we're doing. And some of them don't. And that's okay. You know, that some of them, they're not driven by that or don't have that passion to try to help these kids out. I get that fully. But I just always felt like I wanted to do a show that used different aspects of different things in the show that we can have a good time together. We can all visit at night. We can do all those things. We can still have a good show. We can utilize the county, the city, different things while they're in town, and just make it all around good. And Terry Hill and I was talking on the phone the other day a little bit about shows and stuff. And I said, you know, I ain't got no lie to tell you. I said, I saw things out there that I liked about the way you were doing in Waxahachie. And I said, you know, I like things about that. And I said, when I needed a solid foundation to drive this point home to the town, we need to do this. I said, I have no lie to tell you, Terry. I told him, go look at your stuff, because it was a good model. And that's what we're trying to, you know, we want to have a good flavor about how we're doing things and what the city expects from us. And I told the chief of police, I said, I tell people, when you come to the town, you want to come to the Friday night event, the Saturday night event, have a drink or two. That's great. Just act your age. I don't want to hear you turning over a tire in this town, because if you do, you won't be back to my show. The cities went out of their way to bring us in. We owe them back that respect, not to get out here and do things that makes this show have a bad taste. And I said, the last thing I want is when I come to you for permitting, or I come to you for permission to do this, you say, oh, God, that Harrison's show is coming up again. This, you know, oh, man, we got that going. He said, no, we don't even really have to meet about a lot of our stuff now. We have a phone call that says, same thing as last year. Here's what we're doing. Yeah, it's went great. We're good. We'll do the proper paperwork. And the city's 100% for it. The mayor actually comes out and does a mayor's pick, gets on a golf cart with me and goes through. And honestly, sometimes I'm sitting there going, okay, which one are we going to pick? And he's talking and chatting with people. And he comes back and says, oh, well, that's so-and-so from this town. And he was here before. And he's come back. And it's a super laid back, easy, just people tell me they enjoy the vibe here, and I don't have any desire to say we have the biggest show around or any of that. It doesn't matter to me. I want to have a really good show, and I do hope it grows, but I hope it grows with a pace that suits it. I don't need it to just blow up and then rubber band back, you know?
Well, I think you nailed it. I mean, we've done a lot of interviews on different shows over the years, and people are, you brought up the vibe. People are digging the, I don't know if it's maybe our age, how long we've been in the scene, but people are really, I think the flow is back to the smaller, more intimate events that you get to see people. I always said, a family reunion and a class reunion are only as good as the people that attend, right? So you haven't seen your buddies in 10 or 20 years, and you're like, man, I sure hope Bryan Harrison shows up, and he doesn't. You're kind of bummed out. Now, you're going to find other friends and so on and so forth, and maybe give Bryan a hard time next time. But when those buddies of yours or friends or truck enthusiasts or whatever it might be, you get to break bread and maybe crack open a cold one and have that time. And in these smaller, more intimate events, like your event, like the reunion, and all these different events we've been able to interview over the years. And as of lately, a lot of these smaller shows really trying to kind of get behind that, because what we've seen is the big shows, obviously some of the good guys and some of these big draws, but now you're seeing a lot of smaller branches that have come off. They're local or more like sectional. And you're like, yeah, this seems to be the recipe. And you'll get people that, come in, like you kind of talked about C10's in the park and what Terry and Becky, they do in Waxahachie. And there's a lot of heads in beds, right? Where they look at that and they're like, you're bringing in this money, you're bringing in this tourism. The town loves it. The people love it. Really, as long as there's, like you said, people aren't getting too crazy, everybody's winning.
Well, and it does my heart good because, like on Friday night at the host hotel, we do the VIP reception. And AMD sponsors the show, so all those guys are there that I work with throughout the week. We talk several days a week, and we do things together. Everybody knows that we do stuff with AMD. This year, we brought Diamondback Classics on board, and they sponsored the Friday night deal. Well, me and Eddie are up there doing the auction. I'm looking out in the crowd, and I'm thinking, that guy right there has been at every one of these shows. And this lady and her husband's been at every one of these. And we're 4 years in now, and we talk about, well, you remember the time at this thing when that happened, or the time we've got stories and history now with these people, and they keep coming back, and they keep bringing more couples with them, and they bring more things to the deal. And then this year, when we start going out and getting, hey, we need a donation for our auctions to try to raise money for the thing, people that have been doing it since the first one, and we're picking up new ones that hear about it. And some of them have actually reached out to me and said, hey, we'd like to get involved. What can we do? And that's what happened with Diamondback. They said, hey, we like what's going on. We know what you're trying to do. We know how hard it is to do what you're trying to do. And it's just really working out. It's a plan. It's not the only way to have a car show. And I don't have anything against anybody. You want to go have a show? I hope everybody I know makes $1 million next year. It's great. It's just the way I wanted to do it. It's our way. It's not the only way. And I just felt like I wanted to pay it back and say, here's the plan we got. And then, Saturday night we do our downtown deal, Classic Truck Performance. They sponsor our top 30 trophy. Well, it's a Classic Truck Performance top 20, the AMD 3, my 3, and then usually 3 or 4 of our personal trucks will go. 30 of us downtown. Police escort, city supporting us again, takes us like a procession downtown to a closed-off street. They let us shut the street down. We have food trucks. There's a beer garden, a winery, a little local restaurant, some stores staying open. We have another live band, and the live band, the drummer in that band was a training captain for the fire department in the next town up. So all my fire buddies, we all took our training from him. He's a great guy. And we do another auction, but we close the night out. We auction off the 2 spots on the shirt art. So I thought, how can I take care of that overhead so I'm not pulling money out of this? How can I get that covered? And I didn't just want to go to Harris or somebody and say, hey, man, can you do this for nothing? We got a better way of doing that. So we auction those spots off, and I've seen those spots bring $1,000 each to put their truck on the shirt art. So we do that at the last thing of the night, and that covers our overhead. So the day we open the fence to go into the show, we're sitting pretty good. And a lot of that's due to AMD and their sponsorship, because Chandler and that gang over there realized quick, they're like, this is a good thing. It can be good for a lot of people. Of course, he's in SEMA, the ARMO committee and stuff. And he knows what we're trying to do. And it just, if you get a plan and you stick with it and you've got a good heart about it and you're doing the right things, I think people see it quickly and they realize, they see through the bull. This is what we're trying to do, and they want to be a part of it.
Yeah. People like to give back and be part of something, without a doubt. And to know that we have our own, events within the group, the sect, and it's really like-minded. You get together, you break bread, you look at the trucks, you hang out. There's a reason why people keep coming back, and more shows than ever are popping up. So it's really a cool thing. Like you said, your fourth year, the scholarship, the 501c3, and whether you guys have put it together or realize Bryan is a retired firefighter, 26 years. So a lot of service back to the community, not only through the shop, through the show, through the fire department. It's just cool to see, people have different way of giving back. They might volunteer, they might do this, they might do that, they might donate money, they might donate a museum, a park bench, whatever it is. When what you've got going is a little bit of that Harrison rod shop mixed into everything, right? So it's that hot rod perspective, and you never know, you're going to touch some kid that, I don't know if you could say that anymore. You touch their heart and their soul. You can't say touch the kid anymore. We used to be able to say it. I can't say that now. But yeah, we know what you meant. Some scholarships, some money, and 20 years down the road, whether they come across, they work for you, they work for somebody else, and that'll be the gift that keeps on giving. That, like you said, that role model, that person that influenced them, and they were like, hey, I was a lucky recipient of the 2029 Harrison Rod Shop scholarship, and it helped me go to Wyotech. It helped me through the local school, through shop, through metal fab, whatever it is.
Yeah, and that's funny. We were all in Columbus together a couple weekends ago, and Wyotech was up there and working on the truck we did with AMD for 3 days, and ASE rep was up there and stuff. And I made some good contacts and talked to a lady from Wyotech about what we were trying to do, and we've kind of made a tentative try to get together and talk about some things to see what they could do. She was super interested in what we're trying to do. And, it's just like we talk about different ways of giving back, and the conversations it's led to with different people in the town during the planning process, during the approval process. And they say, man, you think you get one of those kids come back, what do you think about they end up working for you? Well, that'd be great. That's kind of a goal. I'd like to retain a couple and put them to work. But I said, how you want to hold them down that way? If they want to go out and do it on their own, let them work in this town. There's enough for all of us to go around. I said, everybody I know is 2 years behind for doing any kind of work at all. It's 2 years to get a full truck built. So there's enough for everybody. And if you can put some egos aside and some competition aside and pull the same direction, that's the kind of people I want to be pulling with.
Hey guys, are you thinking about swapping out your old motor for a more reliable LSLT-based power plant? Behind each PSI harness, you get over 10 years of experience in the business, online tech support, phone support, and harnesses made in the U.S. That's psiconversion.com. You've heard me talk about my gauges, Dakota Digital. I love them. Dakota Digital has the best gauges for our trucks. These kits are complete with sensors for any engine. They look just like the stock clusters, but have all the technology you'd expect from Dakota Digital. It's like a modern truck, but even better in a classic. Dakota Digital is absolutely the best in aftermarket gauges, so check them out at dakotadigital.com. dakotadigital.com. Well, and you brought up AMD. Speaking of a good partner, not only for your show, a partner of the podcast, you guys do a lot of different things together. How'd that go up there in Columbus for the audience? They built a truck. I had recently had Rockford on, who built a truck, the Spirit of 76, out of a catalog, if you will. And they did the same thing. They were part of the team up there. Obviously, you were up there, AMD. How did all that go? I saw a little bit of media, but probably not as much as maybe that's going to come out. I I just feel like there might have been, I don't know. I know the weather was one thing too as well up there. So give us the Reader's Digest version, Cliff Notes, in this case, the Harrison Rod Shop notes on how that went up there.
Well, I think it went off as planned. A lot of good teams pulling together. A lot of different companies were supporting that thing. So I'm not going to get them all. So I'm not going to start naming names. But it was kind of sectioned off. We had a cab section going. Cato and his gang from Wyotech was doing interior. We had a bed assembly station set up. They had the chassis rolling, started working on exhaust. And it just kind of flowed. It all kind of carried together and started moving toward the center of the stage where we did the builders interviews and stuff. And, everybody had a job to do. I didn't do as much as some people did. Some people was pretty much hands-on with everything that was going on. Brian Butts that owns that Hoss truck that we did, the Brown 79 that we did. And David Daggett, a friend of mine. The three of us got with Walt from AMD, and we built the bed, fit everything up, because I'd done a lot of those beds here, and set it on, mocked it up, cut for the fuel filters, things like that. And we kind of hit a point there that we're kind of like, okay, we worked ourselves out of a job. We're waiting on catch up for this and the exhaust to be done and that. So I didn't do as big a part as what a lot of people did, and I'm not going to say I did. But it was pretty neat to see, and they did light the thing off at the end of the weekend, and it's still got some things to be done. Truck was on Goonie wheels. They're going to get the wheels on it later. Drive shaft, they had to put it in later. But it was a running operational. I mean, it was a big undertaking. If you'd have done half of that in 3 days, it was a big undertaking. But it was something to be proud of, and I know Eddie crossed a lot of bridges and checked a lot of boxes to get all that happening in one place, and it was, just – you think you just say go do it, but clips, fittings, screws, disc clamp, just different things. When you start talking about all the things that it takes, and yes, it's AMD, they got a catalog and a website full of stuff. You start transporting all that 9-10 hours up the road to do it in a building that in front of a bunch of people looking. It was a big undertaking, but got it done, checked the boxes off, and it was a truck at the end of the weekend. So it was a good time. There is some stuff that they're rolling out already. There's been a video with Kevin interviewing people and what was going on, but it was a neat experience. A lot of different people that I would have never met otherwise. So,
yeah, I think the experience of showing the people what can be done. The one thing Rockford and I talked about was it's funny how you take it for granted that you can just build this truck, but it's not an Ertl kit where you've got this directions. You think about some of those clips and those screws, and that's where having, the professionals like you, Cato doing the interior, Tate's, obviously the different people you have along the line. Rockford it's like, okay, yeah, I remember this, and we used this, and we did this, and this didn't work, so don't do that, do this. And those are those little experiences that, come with life and the skill set that you guys have, that as that build a truck out of a catalog continues to evolve, it will get better and better along the way, and there'll be some refinements, there'll be some hardware updates, and we're not far off for sure.
Well, and that's what I said when we did that giveaway truck that we did in 23. It's one thing to take a tattered truck and go through and redo stuff, and we're bagging and tear down, and this is your door parts, and this is your dash parts, and your underhood. That's great, and you got that to pull from. But when you start with a cab and a VIN number and go from there, then you've got to put every single piece of that door together. And then that's when you find out, well, in 76, this screw was different, and this is a little bit this, and if you've used this, so it gets complicated fast, and it'll get ahead of you. There were several trips made to Jegs and local auto parts places while they're up there. There was a lot of runners, but, I've said this before. I don't know that the truck thing hadn't evolved to the point that there's different styles and niches throughout the thing, and certain regions have certain looks of how the trucks look. I think the builds right now, you're going to start to see, the street rod stuff that I grew up in. You grab a 32 body and everything in it's new, and go build a 32. These trucks are going to be right there with it, because now with these cabs being available, all the parts available, people's doing aftermarket chassis. You don't need that much to get started now. You just need the money to do it and a plan to stick to. You can go make it happen. And that is the only thing that makes that truck different than a 40 street rod or a 30 street rod is just the basic shape of it, because we're doing the same processes. We're doing the same level of trim. We're doing all these things. And that truck we did for the NSRA, if you saw it without a body, you didn't know that frame wasn't going under a 40-something Chevrolet or whatever. If you just didn't know specifics, it's a street rod. So we got all these different niches happening and different things going on. I think you're going to see more of that build them out of a book and build them out of a box thing. And I love it because you're going to modify it anyway. Why do you have to go find any certain VIN number, this or that, what have you, and then throw half of it away when you can make it all new? It's never been rotten. It's never had metal replaced and all the things. It's just that good to start with. Why would you not?
Well, and a lot of these customers know exactly what they want, and combine that with the recipe of the builder and a little bit of that style, that funk, that vibe. Why not? So you get to build it the way they want to build it. You're not compromised by limitations of different products, different clips, different this, different that with 3D printers. I know you've got some new parts coming out. Excited to see that. So we're just lucky. People are continuing to push the envelope from the aftermarket and the support. And we've got a lot of really cool shows to show all these things off. So getting back to the truck fair, you've got a host hotel. There is a code and there's a discount. So that they go online and get all situated, and that's the best way to do it?
The best thing to do is just go ahead and find the number and call in there and make sure and tell them you're with the truck show, because we actually have sold more rooms at that hotel. We found out yesterday we've sold more rooms at the hotel this year than we have in past years. We're ahead on every number we've got this year. So the easiest thing to do is we exceeded our room block. Call in there and tell them, hey, I'm with the truck show. Get the rate. There ain't a bad room in the place. The restaurant's fantastic. The terrace outside on Friday night if you're staying. Go online, get the $50 per person ticket and come up. That covers your eating and 2 drinks. And come up and buy some stuff and see what makes this thing different.
One thing you need to do, as I got you here, is on your GM Truck Fair page, you got nothing going on in the information, so no link. So maybe put either the link or the phone number. So then what you and I have talked about, not only within the fire department, but within the truck world that we love and live in, is sometimes you have to spoon feed these guys. So if you can put that phone number or any type of information where you can spoon feed these guys and girls, it's usually the guys that need to be more spoon fed than the girls, but put that number on there. And all the details, because that really helps them. And what I've noticed too is that really helps limit the amount of times people are calling you, or they'll text and they'll say, hey, Bryan, what's this, and this? And you just say, hey, hit the link on the GM Truck Fair Instagram, social media page, and it's all there. You know what I mean? So you're doing a little bit more work on the front side to save yourself some time on the back side.
Solid advice. I'll take that any day.
And
that's the thing too. We had to redo our website and everything. Our first 3 years, our local chamber of commerce helped us get things started with the plan of us rolling out on our own and going into our own 501c. So Jason at AMD, he kind of played catch up and got our website going and changed some things. We kind of changed it on the fly. So that doesn't surprise me. Something got biased, but yeah, it's a lot to do. And everybody, if you've never tried, I know you've done shows and managed shows and there's a lot more to this than people realize.
Yeah, it's like you're herding kittens, right? It's all that, and I what I would say, and not to be too soapboxy, but is for the listener, the attendee, try to do as much as you can to figure out, right? Bryan's busy, his wife's busy, the 501c3's busy. They're trying to do it all. They've got a 4-year-old, they've got kids, they've got things going on. And so the more that the individual can help themselves, we try to say, here's the map, here's the parking, here's where you bring your truck and trailer, here's the link to the host hotel. If you don't like the host hotel, that's fine. There's 64 other hotels that you can go to. I don't have time to go to all 64 to get you a smoking deal. Go around, find out where you want to be, get your buddies, get a VRBO, get whatever you want. Here's where we're going to meet on Friday night. Here's where we're going to meet on Saturday morning. Here's where the cruise is going to be on Saturday afternoon. Be safe, travel. Can't wait to see you. Weather is what weather is. We can't control it. We can only control the three things we're going to control, and that's it. And you talk about that, and you're like, well, just give me a fun place, and you've got that down. You've got really the Greene County Fairgrounds in Greenville, Tennessee. You've got the GM Truck Fair. You've got AMD. You've got the people. You got the vibe. You got the fun, and I think weather looks pretty good for you, which is always nice.
This time of year is typically pretty dry, and I know it's hot. It's been unbearable hot this year, but it's less rain, and with the nighttime component and stuff that we got going on, it works out well. And that's another thing. You said something about trailers. We've got secure trailer parking inside the fence of the fairgrounds. We've got a section that we leave to nothing but trailer parking. We pay security to stay on site inside the fence, and we've got good guys that are police officers and retired police officers doing that. And we do have a swap meet, and the number is posted on our socials who to call for a swap meet space. We've been trying to build that up. We're starting to build up more vendors. Of course, vendors are a tricky thing. You know that, because everybody don't spend the money to travel and do the vendor thing like they once did. I think it's a sign of the times. But we're starting to pick up some of those and stuff, and people wanting to be at the show and be associated with that. We brought a major truck parts vendor, Dave's Truck Parts. He's real popular up east. He's coming in. Diamondback's going to be there. We've got Ronnie Tyler there selling tires, wheels. We got just different people coming in and setting up, doing things. Clothing, SQBDRY. We've been bringing other things in as we go, and it's been growing a little. We've not really lost anybody. Most of them have been there the whole time that's been being, and we've picked up more as we went. So we got plenty of room. We could do, I don't think we'd have a bit of trouble doing 15, 17, maybe 1,800 trucks in there, but we're going to have to utilize the entire fairgrounds, and we've not scratched the surface of using it all.
Yeah, what do you think you're going to have this year? Vintage Air. 50 years, 1976 to 2026, San Antonio, Texas. Whether your truck had AC or not, Vintage Air has a solution for you and your project. Their Gen 5 SureFit kits feature new, larger blowers, OEM-style injected molded cases, full electronic slide controls, replacing older cables, allowing for smooth slide functions when changing flow and temp. And that, my friends, is why Vintage Air has been in business for 50 years. VintageAir.com. USA1Industries.com. Your square body source. Used them for my SEMA build. I've been pimping out their dashes for so long, 10 plus years. And people would always ask me, where's the best dash pad? USA1 Industries. USA1 Industries, without a doubt. So the team over there has been so supportive to me, my build. I get on their website, their process, it's easy, it flows. I can know what parts. And sometimes, honestly, I'm not even sure what parts I need, but when I go through the website, it kind of cues my mind, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should buy that. Oh yeah, I need that. It was extremely helpful. I got 2 large shipments when I was doing the Big Sky Bonanza build, and it saved me. It really did, to know, oh yeah, I'm glad that I ordered that. So when you're going through a big build, think USA1 Industries. Great support, fast shipping. Everything came just as I needed it to. And honestly, their packaging and their labeling was great. So I would be going through packages and I'd be like, oh yeah, this is this grommet. Oh yeah, this is this hardware. So support those guys, USA1Industries.com. And we appreciate all their support. Check them out, guys. 73 to 91. You need it. They got it. They ain't got it. You don't need it.
We've been bringing other things in as we go, and it's been growing a little. We've not really lost anybody. Most of them have been there the whole time that's been being, and we've picked up more as we went. So we got plenty of room. We could do, I don't think we'd have a bit of trouble doing 15, 17, maybe 1,800 trucks in there, but we're going to have to utilize the entire fairgrounds, and we've not scratched the surface of using it all.
Yeah, what do you think you're going to have this year?
I don't know. I sort of hate to jinx myself. I know, judging from what we've had in the past, I made a mistake, and here's the thing: I'll own this 100%. I'll own it. When we did pre-registration, and we did the card where you come in the gate, take this card to registration. Well, we noticed our money for registration was always more than what the truck count was. And I've been down there when they pull up and say, hey, your registration, we'll just keep it, throw it in the pot, And I thought, well, okay, guys are just giving it, keep the change. That makes sense. So I walked around and done some counting them. I can't figure out what's going on. And last year, we took the mayor out to do the mayor's pick, and he picked 3 different trucks that didn't have a registration number, but they had their coupon where they paid to get through the gate. And I said, sir, absolutely fine. I obviously see that you paid. What happened? He said, well, we didn't care if we didn't come here to try to win anything. We come here to help the charity, hang out and look at some trucks. And I went, that's it. So now we've got a different numbering system to where I can lay a hard number on it. But we had over 300. I'd say we were to 350 last year, because I know what it looked like at 2 and 250, and we were more. And if I tell you we got a number, I'm going to know that was the number. So I'm just going to tell you this year, I would not be surprised if we're in the 450, 4 to 450 maybe. Because we've got more registered free than we've had in years past. So
yeah, you talked a little bit about the vendor too, and that kind of coincides right with where you're at. From where I'm sitting and the shows that I go to, and I remember a guy said this probably about our second or third year with the reunion. He says, "Do you want to be a vendor show, or do you want to be more of he didn't say a farmer's market, but I think he kind of said boutique style show." And I said, I think probably more of the latter, right? We have the world's biggest vendor show in the free world, here in November. So we're in the shadow of the get down. And then we hear it like a lot during our show, is that people like the intimate of, the smaller show. So for you, it's the same thing. It's like, hey, we can maybe handle 20, 30, 40, 50 vendors. You might not have the big truck and trailer. Can you bring a 10 by 20? Can you come and set up like a farmer's market, hang out, break bread, see people, and, bring it all together? You can travel a little lighter that way. You can maybe fly in or rent something, or, and just set up something small. We'll help you however we can. We want to get your name out there. And, and I'm just spitballing this because he texted me earlier today, but say Ben from Engineered Vintage, hey, I'm going to ship out 2 grills to you, Brian. I'm going to fly out, give me a picnic table and I'll rent a pop-up or I don't even need a pop-up, whatever. Okay. Boom. There you go. You got pamphlets, you got some grills, people come out, he hangs out. So there's ways around it. It doesn't always have to be the big truck and trailer and the whole, kit and caboodle and the kitchen sink and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of little things there. And I really think, actually, I don't even think, I know that that's the vibe and the way we're going with a lot of this. Now, we're going to have our big 5 shows that you can go to, from LST to the Get Down. We got some bigger award style shows with, you guys just wrapped up at Columbus with Good Guys. We've got the Pomona Grand National stuff. So there's always big truck shows going on. But what I've noticed is so many more family get-togethers, barbecues, picnics, smaller C10 events. And I don't think it's going to change. And I think you're on that list, my brother. And I think what you said is right on. It's like, hey, we've got heads in beds. We're supporting our people. We're supporting our community. We're giving back. Help us give back. Come on out.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, you're talking about the intimate and small group thing. One of the coolest things to me the whole weekend is that Saturday when we do our awards. So we've got the stage and the big concrete bleachers. We call out our award winners and bring them down there to the area between the stage and the bleachers. So if they say, all right, Bryan Harrison, 87 Chevy truck. If you don't know my truck's blue collar, they're going, okay, 87 truck. Well, there's 25 of them. Which one was it? Well, it's that one right there in front of you. Mm-hmm. So we do that, and that helps us line up for the thing downtown. But one of the fun things of this whole deal for me is when I roll out, I always lead the thing down because I've communicated with the police officer. And I know what we're trying to do roadblock wise. And I look in that mirror and I see a streak of trucks behind me and we're all rolling out together. That's a blast.
That's what it's all about, dude. I mean, it really is. So that's pretty epic. So, all right, guys, for you guys, GM Truck Fair, August 14th and 15th, Greene County Fairgrounds, Greenville, Tennessee. If you got questions, comments, concerns, you can get a hold of me. I'll get a hold of Bryan. You can reach out to Bryan at Harrison Rod Shop on the IG. Obviously, you've got the website at gmtruckfair.com. That's gmtruckfair.com. Again, Greenville, Tennessee, August 14th and 15th. It's coming up quick, my brother. You guys really have a lot going on out there. I mean, I was just thinking about this from Simple C10's got his new show that he just had. You have SETN, you have your show, you've got Triple Crown, you've got C10 Nationals. There is a lot going on in Tennessee.
Usually is, and it's got to where there's something about every weekend, and now they've got to be in big rig shows popping up. There's even a custom semi show this coming weekend in Pigeon Forge. So if you can't find something to do in an old truck or hot rod in East Tennessee, man, you ain't doing it right.
You ain't. And I'll tell you what, because the Ford guys, and you just brought up Pigeon Forge, we got Maggie Valley, you got mini trucks, you got Pigeon Forge, you got the Ford guys run like 2 or 3. I know this isn't a Ford pod, but there's always something going on in Tennessee. So classic trucks, hot rods run deep out there, and GM Truck Show. And again, let's just take it out on this. It supports the scholarship, and the money goes to the kids. How do those kids apply? And do you have a set amount? Do you give 4 scholarships a year? How do you do that?
So what we're going to do this year, like I said, we wanted to let it build. I didn't want to have 3 or 4 people apply and say, well, I can give you all $50, or we can give you $500 and it not be a drop in the bucket. We wanted to let this thing build. And then when we got on the advisory council for the automotive program here at the high school, I'm going to be able to kind of watch and stuff and see what's going on and kind of keep an eye out for some standout students that are, I don't want to give it to somebody that's just going to go out there and halfway do it. I got free school. I'm just playing. I want a kid that's got a plan. And we're going to start going out this coming school year. My plan is we're going to hit the guidance counselors and say, listen, now when you've got a kid that comes in here and they're talking to you about hot rods and stuff, did you realize there is a school they can do now? And we're going to help them with that. We want to make sure they know this is available. I don't know if it means we go to a school board meeting and make sure we make the right contacts. I don't know, but my attorney is on my board. She took care of doing the 501c stuff for me, and Jason Chandler's on my board. So the 3 of us together, we're gonna make them come in and sit with us and have a plan. I'm not just gonna sit here and hand money out and throw it in the hole after we've worked this hard to raise it, But that's been kind of a plan. Let it build 4 to 5 years and really hammer down on it. But honestly, the fund has grown faster than what I expected. And it's been through generous people giving us stuff, sending us stuff. I call you and say, hey, man, look what we're doing. You help me. Other people help us, and they see what we're doing, and we do what we say we do. And I look at that like, how can I tell these kids, go take a job, go learn and do what you say you're going to do if we're not doing what we say we're going to do? So it's growing, and we're going to get the word out to these schools of what we can do. And I've even talked to some news channels about coming in and doing a sit down on the morning shows and things where, hey, tell your kid about this thing they may not know about yet, and you saw it on the news, and just talking to these schools that have opportunities for people, going out and making talks in these schools. And, we lost a little bit of a tech school thing. We had an auto body class in this county that was doing really well and had a lot of good talent in there, and through a bad deal, whatever, we lost the school. And we had built a relationship with them. AMD sent them panels to paint, and instead of painting a Kia fender, they were painting a muscle car fender, or they were painting, we got these panels that get damaged. Let's turn that negative into a positive. Let's send them a pallet of stuff. We go down, meet them, and talk to them about the industry and opportunities. That's the kind of things we want to get more involved with. I'd like to say, hey, I'm going to take 2 days this month and go reach out to kids, and talk to them about what's going on. And the thing of it is, you may have a 20-year-old guy approach me and says, hey, man, I figured out what I want to do. Well, just because he ain't in high school no more don't mean he's not viable for a career. He's got a good plan. He's ready to go. Hey, let's get it going. But, I know we're trying to close, but I want to say thank you. You know, every time I've ever called on you for help to build this thing up, you've been good to us. And, we received package from you today, and that's what it takes. Somebody sees this. Maybe your company's not donating to us. Maybe you never heard of us. Hit the socials, contact me up, and I'll promise you, when you send something to us to help us out, you get your social media due, because we post every single thing donated here that Company X believes in what we're trying to do, and they contributed by sending the following.
Yeah, and it's a lot of work people don't realize on your end as well. And really, it's at least that the companies can do to support such a great cause, such a great event. And I look at it always like this. Hey, you're either given or taken. You're either given or taken. And I get that there's times you're going to take, but if you've taken, give back. And as long as we keep giving, pot floweth over, and we keep growing, and the community is what it is because of people like you. And you brought up some really good people. Obviously, Jason Chandler, you've got a great board there. Keep doing what you're doing, and we hope for great weather, great vibes, great fun, and another amazing 4th year at the GM Truck Fair.
Thank you so much, and make sure and come out and place your bid for the Doja mats.
Yeah, Doja mat. If you need them, check them out. All right, dude. I'm going to take you out. Late.
Thank you.